And I just got out of a 12-year standing relationship. My boyfriend walked out on me for a younger woman.
His testicles?
The movie The Matrix is not science fiction.
So I'm on this date with this guy who is perfectly nice, and I feel kind of bad because he's totally irrelevant to the story, but I'm on the date with him.
We ask 100 women to name something women love to touch on a man.
His testicles?
We just got on TV here in South Africa. We would like to stay.
Isn't it funny that that's the first thing that came out of our mouth was testicles?
His two little buddies.
I hope you guys are paying attention to this, to what she said, and it ended up being an answer on Family Feud. It was called, "What is it that women enjoy touching and on a man's body?" She said testicles. Why? Because she knows that's what pleases a man. You guys have to understand, women be having these type of fetishes running through their brain. They just don't show you. They act them out when they get around the person that they like.
The movie The Matrix is not science fiction. It's a documentary. Every human, and this is a fact, every human first 7 years is download a hypnosis. The brain of a child under 7 is in a lower vibrational frequency. When you put wires on a person's head, you read electroencephalograph, reading brain activity. A child below 7 has a lower vibration than consciousness. It's called theta. Theta is imagination. Oh, that's how kids play a tea party with mud pies, but to them it's a real thing. A kid rides a broom, it's a horse. That's theta, imagination. Theta is also hypnosis. And the idea is this: before you can become conscious, if you don't have any programs, what are you going to be conscious of?
He's absolutely right. And the reason why I played that is because I tell a lot of B-dubs, the reason why you can't get a man is because between the ages of 1 and 7, your mother spends a lot of time telling you, you don't need a man. You don't have to be with a man. So that's part of your growth, and that's part of your hypnosis at that age called theta. That's what he's talking about. So when women are told during those ages that you don't need a man, and you learn that before you learn what a relationship is, you go your entire life hypnotized to not believing that you need a man. So you find any reason to be combative in order to ruin the relationship. That keeps you with the Black Widow effect. What do I mean? I mean is, at the beginning of the relationship, you like guys because you like the attention. The moment you get pregnant, you want to get rid of the man because your subconscious mind says, I don't need a man. And this is why there's so many black women who are single mothers. It's because you're under a hypnosis from your mother telling you at a younger age that you don't need a man while your brain was still developing. It's all psychological. It has nothing to do with the man. It has nothing to do with society. It has nothing to do with slavery. It has nothing to do with empowerment. It has everything to deal with your mother telling you you don't need a man between the ages of 1 and 7, hypnotizing you to be combative for the rest of your life.
And I just got out of a 12-year standing relationship. My boyfriend walked out on me for a younger woman. So fast forward, during my healing process, he called me and asked me could he come back home with the promise of we're going to get married. We're going to do all these things together.
That means he needed some money.
Steve, he walked out again. So, Steve, how do I avoid this from happening? Because I really do want to find love. I do. But it's kind of scary and it's scary and shaky these days.
Okay, now we're going to get...
These days, she has to realize when a woman gets up in age, it's almost virtually impossible. Because men are not checking for older women. That man came back in her life to get some money. That's it. He needed a place to stay. He needed some money. Now he's gone. See, women that are desperate, you're going to keep lowering your standards, and you're going to end up with the dust ball.
Nigga, what?
You said he was your boyfriend for 12 years.
Yes, he was.
What 53-year-old person needs a boyfriend?
He's right. At that age, your mind should already be made up what you want to do. You should already be established. You should have not kept going your whole life thinking that you can do better. That's what a lot of women have done. Granted, she was in a relationship for a very long time, but she also got in that relationship later in life.
I don't want a boyfriend. I want a relationship that will turn into something long-lasting and loving.
But listen,
that's the hard part. That is the very hard part that women are going to have to understand. You only have a certain amount of time in your life to make that happen. Outside of that, things only get worse the older you get. Dating becomes extremely hard. That if you don't knock it out in your 20s, your 30s and 40s are going to be very difficult.
So I just got back from a date, and on this date, I found out that this dude that I've been sleeping with for like 6 months, like in this long situationship, is married. So basically, I had come to terms with the fact that like this situationship wasn't going to develop, like it wasn't going to go anywhere, and I felt like the best way to remove myself from the situation is to like go on a date with somebody else, you know what I mean? Like rip off the band-aid. So I'm on this date with this guy who is perfectly nice, and I feel kind of bad because he's totally irrelevant to the story, but I'm on the date with him. The guy that I'm on the date with is in medical school. He's like just finishing up and he's like actively applying for residency positions. And the guy that I was in a situationship is also in medical school in his last year applying for residencies. I didn't know that, but I was like, okay, they probably know each other because they're probably in the same cohort.
Well, women don't understand. If you stop and look at this woman, some girls just have a side chick look. If you look at her, she looks like a side chick. She has the side chick look. That means guys typically look at women like this and they only want to be with them in the bedroom because they look like the type of girl that's liberated, that's going to jump from guy to guy to guy. Now, this is the type of woman, like she said, the best way to get over a guy is to turn around and go on another date. I tell you guys all the time, the reason why it takes men longer to get over women is because you just can't up and go on another date. Like she said, peel back the band-aid. She grabbed up another guy, went on a date trying to get over him, and this happened.
But I just like shook it off. Like I was like, it's a little close to home, but you know, I'm focused on this new person, on this new date. And so I don't really know a lot about like the medical school process. And so I asked like, oh, what happens if you don't match? And he starts telling me about like these few people in his cohort that are really struggling and that have like haven't gotten any interviews from residency programs. And they're concerned that they're not going to match and how it's like a legitimate concern. And I asked, oh, who is this person? And he was like, oh, just this Polish guy. And then he said his name. And I was like, oh my God, okay, stay calm, stay calm. And then he goes, yeah, it's kind of messed up because we were really good friends at the beginning of the program, but he turned out to be kind of an asshole, which was kind of sad because I met his wife and his wife seemed really nice. My heart is literally beating like a million miles an hour and I keep just saying to myself, like, don't react, just nod and smile, don't react.
Jealousy. See, she has to understand she's been messing with this dude for 6 months. She knew he had a wife. She knew he had a girlfriend. She knew he had something. There's no way you go 6 months without knowing that a man is married because marriages run and operate totally different than girlfriend and boyfriends. In my opinion, I think the guy just left her alone and now she's just getting jealous because she got tossed out to the side. But women have a sixth sense. And you can ask any woman out there. They have this sense where they know if a man has more than one woman because they are attracted to that man. They're not attracted to a single guy that women don't want.
Yeah, like, holy shit. So I do the only thing I can do, which is already unhinged. I get into my car after the date, and I pull up the guy from the situationship, and I text him, and I know he's on vacation, and so I just texted him, and I said, hey, I hope you're having a good vacation. Tell your wife I said hi. And now I'm just home by myself, just like sitting on this, like reeling, like just entering my involuntary mistress era. And just for the record, I know I seem like I'm laughing and smiling because like that's just how I deal with like uncomfortable, bad situations. It's not funny at all. I feel like literally sick to my stomach, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, so any advice from the comments? Like,
my advice, you are a side chick. This is the type of girl that needs to go be with an ugly guy who's not confident with himself. Because to the average guy out there, I can almost guarantee you that she throws herself at the type of guy that she feels like she needs to be with. This is why she ignored the fact that there could be another woman for 6 months. You just don't wake up and find this type of information out. Another thing that women have to understand, you're probably going to be sharing men now because there's not enough men who are masculine enough to be with you. Most of these guys are soft as drugstore cotton. So you're going to find yourself sharing a man with another woman. any woman nowadays that's just looking for full-blown commitment out of a man that they know other girls is going to want, it's going to be hard. You're going to find yourself losing a guy if you complain. So the wife already knows, if this woman complains to me, I'm not going to leave this man. And she is trying to figure out, how do I get back in good graces with this guy?
Like, what do I do with this information? Like, I shouldn't tell her. I should tell her. It's like, I don't want to be involved, but like at the same time, like the feminist in me is like, she should know, but also I just like don't even want to like engage with this. Like, I don't know, like married women out there, like comment on this. Like, what do you think?
I personally feel like you got to leave the feminist crap alone, because that's probably where you're making your biggest mistakes. I told a girl yesterday, feminism only matters whenever you're doing debates and you're conversating with men. It's pretty much like, let's debate about feminism because we have nothing else to do with our life. Like, for instance, when your car breaks down, a woman would rather take her car to a man to get it fixed instead of a woman, right? Isn't that what they do? When women need something fixed around the house, they don't call up a handy woman, they call up a handy man. Why? Because they trust a man to do it. I also explained to a woman the other day, don't feminists get mad when they go to memorial parks and they see nothing but men names written down on the walls that have died for this country, protecting this country, and there's no women names on the wall? That's what women don't get. You go to memorial parks and you don't complain that the fact that women don't go to the military, but yet women are allowed to join the military. They're allowed to be trained by the military. They're allowed to get a job with the military. They're allowed to pretend to be a soldier that actually signed up to protect the country. But whenever it comes down to the come down and protecting the country, the government doesn't allow women to go to war at all. They can't hold a gun and go hide out in a foxhole and dodge bullets. This is why there's no women names on the wall at memorials. So what women need to understand is, when it comes to feminism, feminism is just part of your imagination that gives you some type of power that really doesn't exist, because you're still going to have to go back to a man to get the essential things in life done. Hopefully you guys get the message behind the video. Comment, like, subscribe to both of my channels. Hasta la vista.